Well, in this country, LeBron James pushes left-wing politics. The NBA touts itself as a socially conscious sports league, but neither one dares criticize their masters in China, and they don't want anyone else doing it either because they don't want to lose money. Dennis Rodman won 5 NBA championships with the Chicago Bulls and the Detroit Pistons, but after leaving the NBA, he's had something of a second career as an informal diplomat. He's made multiple trips to North Korea where he's befriended the country's dictator. We just spoke with Rodman. Here's how it went. So when you see LeBron James, and it's not just LeBron James, but NBA players and coaches unwilling to tell the truth about the Chinese dictatorship, what's your response to that?
Well, I just look at it as far as I think that NBA is a great sport. It's a great sport around the world.
Yeah.
I think the NBA players have an obligation to do one thing: is to play sports.
Yeah.
I think when you put politics with sport, it doesn't mix. I mean,
I agree with you there.
Right there. I think that the fact that when you put politics in sports, it seems to have a different twist on the game of the sports world. And basketball is a very, very universal sport, and it speaks volumes around the world. And I think the players in the NBA had no informants about what's going on in China or in Hong Kong. So right. I think that they was misinformed, or it wasn't known to them what was taking place right now at that particular moment.
I get it, but they also have Google, and some of these guys are smart. LeBron James is smart. No one thinks he's dumb. And LeBron James has spent years critiquing American politics. He's got no problem attacking the government here. But anyone who attacks the government there should be punished? I mean, he said that. That seems like a double standard.
Well, I just think that the culture in Hong Kong and in China, a very, very great country, by that. I think they feed the American people and the American way. I think the fact that a lot of people, as far as the culture in China and Hong Kong, it's very difficult to try to change that culture overnight, because they have a certain way of living and a certain way of thinking. I think the fact that if the NBA players, any sport that has anything to do with sports, if they understand the culture of the Asian community in the Asian countries, I think they should understand the fact that they are very loyal. They're very loyal people. If they say yes, they mean yes. If they hear something that's very out of context, they take it in the wrong. They take it in a different direction and say, "Wait a minute, hold on."
Oh, okay.
They don't understand. No.
Okay, but what if you had a country that was taking people, Muslims in this case, and putting them in concentration camps, or a country that was executing anyone who disagreed with the government and then selling their organs? Would it be okay if you were an American to say, I know it's a different culture, but, that's kind of disgusting?
Well, it is disgusting. I think the fact that, that's up to the people in Washington, the politicians. I think, like I said, sports is sports. I think that people that's playing sports, as far as basketball, that's not their concern. I think you can voice your opinion in America, but once you start going across to over to Asia, China, the Singapore, Beijing, and those countries over there, it's a different way of living over there. You got to be really careful what you say, because they're taking it the wrong way.
Well, I know that for the Chinese, but here in America, we're protected by this umbrella called the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, and we can say whatever we want. So LeBron James goes into a meeting of teammates and team owners and says anybody who criticizes China ought to be punished in the United States. What do you think of that?
Well, I just think it's just difficult. Like I said, politicians should understand the fact that, don't involve people like us as far as athletes involved in politics. I think LeBron James is a very smart individual. I think he's very caring about the people around the world, and especially his charity he does around the world. But I think that you just got to understand that we don't know too much about politics. I don't want to know too much about politics, to be honest with you.
But then should LeBron James continue to comment on American politics?
Well, you know what? It's one of the great things about living in America. We got the freedom of speech.
Except when we criticize China. Except when we criticize China. And then LeBron says you have to be punished for that.
But I'm saying that the deal is, though, we have no right as American people to sit there and criticize China or any country in the world in that sense, because you know what? China is one of the countries where they really praise American people. They love sports. They love American people. Hong Kong love American people. China, Singapore, Beijing, Shanghai, every Asian country, they love American people, especially sports. And I think if people, as far as athletes, understand that, because they're very loyal to people, as far as American people. So I think that LeBron James needs to understand, you know what, let the politics be politics, and let the basketball players be basketball players.
Well, I hope he would live by that standard here, too. I'm not sure I understood a lot of that, but I really appreciate it. It's great to see you. Thanks a lot for coming on. Right. Dennis Rodman.
Cool.
Thank you.